My name is Chloe, and I'm 32 years old. For 29 years, my family forgot my birthday. Not occasionally. Every single year. While my brother Marcus got surprise parties, custom cakes, and thoughtful gifts, my birthday passed in silence. Until this year, when I decided enough was enough. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, let me know where you're watching from. Hit that like and subscribe button, and stay for the story of how I finally made them remember. Growing up as the middle child in the Harrison household meant existing in a perpetual state of being overlooked. My older sister Amanda was the accomplished firstborn, the golden child who could do no wrong. My younger brother Marcus was the baby, charming and coddled, forever protected from any real consequence. And then there was me, Chloe, the forgotten one. My birthday is March 15th. A perfectly ordinary date, not conflicting with any major holiday, not inconveniently timed. Just a regular spring day that should have been easy to remember. But somehow, year after year, it slipped past my family unnoticed. The first time it happened, I was 7 years old. I woke up buzzing with excitement, expecting the usual birthday morning routine I had seen Amanda receive just 3 months earlier. Pancakes with a candle, presents at breakfast, maybe a special outfit laid out on my bed. Instead, I found my mother rushing around the kitchen, packing Marcus's lunch and reviewing Amanda's spelling test words. When I bounced into the room announcing, "It's my birthday," my mother looked up distractedly. "Oh, honey, is it? I thought that was next week. We'll do something this weekend, okay?" But the weekend came and went. No cake. No presents. No acknowledgement whatsoever. When I tentatively brought it up the following Monday, my father patted my head absently. "Birthday? We celebrated that already, didn't we? With the cake." There had been no cake. I learned then, at 7 years old, that my presence in this family was optional. My milestones negotiable. My significance debatable. The following year, I hoped things would be different. Surely the previous year had been an anomaly, a busy week where everyone was simply distracted. I dropped hints for weeks in advance. "My birthday is coming up soon," I'd mention at dinner. "That's nice, dear," my mother would reply, not looking up from helping Marcus with his homework. When March 15th arrived again, I woke up with cautious optimism. Maybe this year would be different. But breakfast was the usual chaos. Amanda needed a ride to her debate team practice. Marcus had forgotten his science project and needed help finishing it before school. My birthday went unmentioned. At school, my teacher had the class sing to me. My friends gave me handmade cards and shared their snacks at lunch. For a few hours, I felt special. Seen. Important. Then I came home to absolute silence about the occasion. That night at dinner, my father announced that Marcus had been selected for the travel soccer team. We spent the entire meal discussing practice schedules, tournament fees, and uniform orders. When I couldn't take it anymore and blurted out, "It was my birthday today," the table fell silent for exactly 3 seconds. "Oh, sweetie," my mother said, her face showing what I would later recognize as performative concern. "We've just been so busy with Marcus's soccer news. We'll make it up to you." They never did. This pattern continued year after year. Age 8, forgotten. Age 9, forgotten. Age 10, finally mentioned 3 days late when my grandmother called to wish me happy birthday, and my mother had to awkwardly admit she'd forgotten again. Meanwhile, Amanda's birthdays were elaborate affairs. Sweet 16 with a catered party. High school graduation celebration that doubled as a birthday event. College acceptance announcement party that, conveniently, fell near her birthday. Marcus's birthdays were equally celebrated. Themed parties every year. The whole family taking days off work and school to make his day special. Photo albums filled with pictures of him beaming over cakes shaped like his current obsession, whether dinosaurs, superheroes, or sports equipment. My birthdays existed in a photographic void. No documentation. No memories. No proof they had ever happened at all. By the time I left for college at 18, I had stopped expecting anything from my family. I spent my birthday that year alone in my dorm room, treating myself to takeout and a movie. It was quiet, unremarkable, and somehow more honest than the forced celebrations my family might have offered if I'd reminded them. I built a life for myself in Seattle, far from my family's home in North Carolina. I became a software engineer at a tech startup, made genuine friends who actually remembered important dates, and started therapy to unpack the emotional neglect I had experienced. Dr. Chin, my therapist, helped me understand that what my family had done wasn't just forgetfulness. It was a pattern of dismissal, a consistent message that I didn't matter enough to remember. "Have you ever told them how this makes you feel?" she asked during one session. I laughed bitterly. Every year. They always promise to do better. They never do. But despite the distance and therapy, I still felt that pull. That desperate, childish hope that maybe this year would be different. That maybe, finally, they would remember without being reminded. That I would be worth remembering. Every March, I would watch my phone on the 15th, willing it to ring. Hoping for a text. Something. Anything that proved I existed in their minds as more than an afterthought. The calls never came on the right day. My mother would inevitably text a week later, "Oh no, I missed your birthday again. Sorry, honey. Life has been crazy." Always an excuse. Never a change. My 30th birthday was supposed to be different. Not because I expected my family to remember, but because I had decided to celebrate myself. I planned a trip to Japan, something I'd wanted to do for years. I would turn 30 exploring Tokyo, trying incredible food, and finally putting myself first. 2 weeks before my trip, my mother called. This was unusual enough to make me suspicious. We typically communicated via text, brief exchanges about family news that rarely involved me. "Chloe, honey, I need a favor," she began. Of course she did. Marcus was getting married in April, and they needed help with wedding planning. Amanda was too busy with her law firm partnership track. Could I come home for a few weeks to help coordinate vendors, manage RSVPs, and handle the logistics? "Mom, I have plans. I'm going to Japan for my birthday." There was a pause. "Your birthday? When is that again?" The question shouldn't have hurt anymore. But it did. Every single time. March 15th. Like it is every year. Oh, right. Well, Marcus's wedding is more important, don't you think? This is a once-in-a-lifetime event for him. You can go to Japan anytime. The assumptions in that statement were staggering. That Marcus's wedding somehow trumped my long-planned birthday trip. That my time and plans were infinitely flexible and unimportant. That I should automatically sacrifice what I wanted for what the family needed. For the first time in my life, I said no. "I'm not canceling my trip, Mom. Marcus has a fiancé and a whole family to help him. He doesn't need me." The guilt trip that followed was immediate and intense. I was being selfish. Family comes first. How could I miss helping with my brother's wedding? What would people think? I held firm and went to Japan. I had an incredible 30th birthday, watching the sunrise from Mount Fuji, eating the best ramen of my life, and feeling genuinely happy. I posted pictures on social media, sharing my joy with friends who celebrated with me from afar. My family didn't comment on a single post. My birthday passed without a single message from any of them. But Marcus's wedding was another story. The event was lavish, expensive, and took over every family conversation for months. When I returned for the wedding, having cut my trip short by 3 days to attend, no one thanked me for coming. No one asked about Japan. No one acknowledged I had rearranged my plans. At the reception, during speeches, my father talked about how proud he was of his son, how he'd watched Marcus grow from a boy into a man. My mother cried about her baby getting married. Amanda gave a touching toast about sibling bonds. No one mentioned that I existed. When the DJ called all siblings up for a dance with the bride and groom, I stood awkwardly to the side as Amanda took center stage. The photographer didn't even try to include me in the family portraits. I left the wedding early, crying in my rental car, and made a decision. I was done hoping they would change. Done setting myself up for disappointment. Done being the forgotten child. 11 months passed. I threw myself into work, got a promotion to senior engineer, and started dating someone who actually treated me like I mattered. His name was David, and when I told him about my family situation, he was appalled. They forget your birthday every year? Every single year. Pretty much. Chloe, that's not normal. That's not okay. Hearing someone validate my experience was powerful. I had spent so long being told I was overreacting, being too sensitive, that I had started to believe maybe I was the problem. As March approached, I made plans. Not for a celebration, but for something else entirely. An experiment, I told myself. A final test to see if my family could remember without me begging for acknowledgement. I didn't drop hints. Didn't mention it in phone calls. Didn't change my social media profile picture to a countdown like I'd done in previous years, hoping someone would notice. Instead, I went completely silent. No calls home. No texts. No engagement with family group chats. What are you hoping will happen? Dr. Chen asked when I explained my plan. Honestly, I want them to forget again. I want proof that my gut feeling is right, that I don't actually matter to them. Because if they forget this year, after 31 previous birthdays, then I know for sure. And then what? Then I'm done. No more hoping. No more hurt. I accept reality and move forward accordingly. David was supportive but concerned. Are you sure you want to do this? It seems like you're setting yourself up to be hurt. I'm already hurt, I replied. This way, at least I'll know exactly where I stand. Hashtag March 15th arrives. I woke up on my 32nd birthday to messages from friends. David had surprised me with breakfast in bed, homemade pancakes with a single candle. My coworkers had decorated my desk with balloons. The coffee shop barista who knew my order wished me happy birthday. But my phone remained silent when it came to my family. 10 a.m. Nothing. Noon. Still nothing. 3 p.m. I checked my phone compulsively, hating myself for still hoping. 6 p.m. Dinner with David and close friends at my favorite restaurant. They sang to me, gave thoughtful gifts, made me feel loved and valued. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, they forgot again. Just like always. By the time I went to bed that night, I had received birthday wishes from 43 people. None of them shared my DNA. The next morning, I woke up to a text from my mother at 6 a.m. Marcus and Jessica are expecting. I'm going to be a grandmother. Can you believe it? Not a single word about my birthday, which had been less than 12 hours ago. I sat in bed, staring at that message, and something inside me finally broke. Not in a sad way, but in a liberating one. Like a rope I'd been clinging to had finally snapped, and instead of falling, I was floating. I was done. I didn't respond to my mother's text about Marcus's baby news. I didn't call to congratulate him. I simply went quiet again, and this time, it was permanent. 3 days later, Amanda called. This was even more unusual than my mother calling. Mom says you're upset about something. What's going on? The casual dismissiveness of that question made me laugh. What's going on? Really, Amanda? Don't be dramatic, Chloe. Just tell me what's wrong so we can fix it. It was my birthday 3 days ago. Silence. March 15th. Like it is every single year. Like it has been for 32 years. Oh. Her voice was small. Oh no. We forgot again. You always forget, Amanda. Every year. Without fail. That's not fair. We're busy. We have lives. You can't expect us to remember every little thing. That statement right there crystallized everything. My birthday wasn't just forgotten. It was categorized as unimportant. A little thing not worth remembering. You remember Marcus's birthday every year, I said quietly. You remember yours. You remember Mom and Dad's anniversary. You remember every important date for people you actually care about. That's different. How? Explain to me how it's different. She couldn't. Instead, she got defensive. You're being ridiculous. So we forgot your birthday. It's not that big of a deal. You're making this into something it's not. I'm done, Amanda. Done with what? With all of you. With waiting to matter. With hoping you'll change. I'm done. I hung up before she could respond. What I didn't expect was for Amanda to immediately call a family meeting. Apparently, my statement about being done had triggered something. Concern? Guilt? Whatever it was, it motivated her to action in a way my hurt never had. My mother called next, her voice sugary and placating. "Chloe, sweetheart, Amanda says you're upset. Why don't you come home this weekend? We can talk about this as a family." "There's nothing to talk about. Don't be like that. Family is important. We need to work through this together." The irony of her saying family is important was almost too much to bear. "You forgot my birthday, Mom." Again. Just like you do every year. "Honey, we've apologized for that. We've been busy. You know how life gets." "Busy?" Marcus's baby announcement was more important than remembering I exist. That's exactly what it means. Your first text after my birthday wasn't an apology or a belated wish. It was about Marcus. It's always about Marcus or Amanda. Never about me. You're exaggerating. I'm done exaggerating. I'm done minimizing. I'm done pretending this is normal. Do you know it's not normal, Mom? Forgetting your child's birthday 32 years in a row. It hasn't been 32 years. It has. Every single year. I have a list. I did have a list. I'd started keeping track in therapy, documenting each forgotten birthday, each excuse, each promise to do better that never materialized. It was 3 pages long. "Come home this weekend," she insisted. "Let's fix this." Against my better judgment, and with David's support, I agreed. Not because I thought they would suddenly understand, but because I wanted to say my piece in person. I wanted them to see my face when I told them exactly how their neglect had affected me. I drove the 8 hours from Seattle to North Carolina that Friday, arriving at my childhood home just after dinner. The house looked the same as always. Perfectly maintained, pictures of Amanda and Marcus covering every surface, no evidence I had ever lived there. David had offered to come with me, but I needed to do this alone. My family was gathered in the living room when I walked in. Mom, Dad, Amanda, and surprisingly, Marcus with his pregnant wife Jessica. Everyone looked uncomfortable, like I was the problem for bringing up their neglect rather than the actual issue being their behavior. "Chloe," my mother began, her voice syrupy with false warmth. "We're so glad you came. We want to talk about this birthday situation." "Birthday situation," I repeated. "Is that what we're calling 32 years of being forgotten?" My father shifted in his chair. "Now, Chloe, don't you think you're being a bit dramatic? Everyone forgets things sometimes." "Sometimes, yes. Every single year for 3 decades? That's not forgetting. That's not caring." Amanda jumped in, ever the peacemaker when it served her purposes. "We've acknowledged we made a mistake. We're sorry. Can't we move past this? A mistake is 1 year. Maybe 2. This is a pattern. A choice. We didn't choose to forget your birthday," Marcus said, speaking for the first time. "Life just gets busy. We don't mean anything by it." I turned to him, this golden child who had never wanted for attention or acknowledgement. "Marcus, when's your birthday?" "October 12th. "And does anyone ever forget it?" He had the grace to look uncomfortable. "No, but..." "Has anyone ever forgotten Amanda's birthday? Dad's? Mom's?" Silence. "So it's just me. Just my birthday that's not worth remembering. Just my existence that slips your mind year after year." "You're twisting this," my mother protested. "Making it sound worse than it is." "Am I? Let me ask you something, Mom. Without looking at your phone, what's my birthday?" She opened her mouth, then closed it. Looked at my father, who looked at Amanda, who looked at Marcus. None of them knew. "March 15th, I said into the silence. "It's March 15th. It's been March 15th for 32 years. And none of you can remember it." "This is ridiculous," Amanda said, standing up. "We said we're sorry. What more do you want? I want you to understand what you've done. I want you to see how it feels to be invisible in your own family." "You're not invisible," my father said. "We love you. Do you?" Because love remembers. Love makes an effort. Love doesn't require me to beg for basic acknowledgement. I pulled out my phone and opened a document I had prepared. 3 pages of documentation, dates and details of every forgotten birthday, every dismissal, every time my feelings had been minimized. Age 7, forgotten completely. Age 8, remembered 3 days late when Grandma called. Age 9, acknowledged with a card that arrived 2 weeks late. Age 10. Stop, my mother said, her voice strained. We don't need to go through all of this. Yes, we do. Because you keep acting like this is 1 or 2 instances. Like I'm overreacting. I need you to understand the scope of what you've done. I continued reading year after year of neglect while my family shifted uncomfortably. When I reached my 30th birthday, my voice cracked. You asked me to cancel my trip to Japan, a trip I'd been planning for a year to help with Marcus's wedding. When I said no, you were angry. You called me selfish. And then you forgot my birthday entirely while I was gone. Jessica, who had been silent throughout, looked horrified. They did what? It's not as bad as she's making it sound, Marcus said quickly. Really? I challenged. Which part isn't as bad? The part where they've forgotten my birthday 32 times? Or the part where they expect me to drop everything for this family while giving me nothing in return? Family is about sacrifice, my mother said primly. You're right. It is. So why am I the only one sacrificing? When have any of you inconvenienced yourselves for me? No answer. That's what I thought. What happened next surprised everyone, including me. My father, who had been quiet for most of the confrontation, suddenly spoke up. She's right. We all turned to stare at him. George, my mother said, clearly shocked. She's right, Diana. We have forgotten her birthday. Every year. And it's not okay. Well, we're busy. Stop making excuses, he said, his voice firmer than I'd ever heard it. Our daughter is sitting here telling us we've hurt her, and instead of listening, we're defending ourselves. What's wrong with us? My mother's face flushed. Nothing is wrong with us. Chloe is being overdramatic, like always. Is she? My father pulled out his phone, opened his photo app. When was the last time we took a family photo that included Chloe? Amanda started to respond, then stopped. When was the last time we asked about her life, her job, her interests, without immediately changing the subject back to Marcus or Amanda? Silence. When was the last time we treated her like she mattered? My mother's eyes filled with tears, but they felt manipulative rather than genuine. I can't believe you're ganging up on me like this. I'm not ganging up on anyone, Diana. I'm acknowledging the truth. We've failed our daughter. Repeatedly. And instead of apologizing and changing, we're sitting here making excuses. This was the most surreal moment of the entire confrontation. My father, who had been complicit in my neglect for decades, was suddenly my defender. Dad, I started. No, Chloe. Let me say this. Your mother and I raised you 3 very differently. We put all our energy into Amanda's achievements and Marcus's needs, and we just assumed you'd be fine. That you didn't need the same attention. Why? The question came out as a whisper. He looked at me with something that might have been regret. Because you never complained. You were independent, self-sufficient. The easy child. So we took advantage of that. We neglected you because you didn't demand attention like your siblings did. That's not an excuse. No, it's not. It's an explanation. And a poor one. My mother had been growing more agitated during this exchange. This is absurd. We made a mistake. We forgot some birthdays. That doesn't make us monsters. Some birthdays. I repeated. Every birthday, Mom. 32 years worth. So, what do you want from us? Amanda demanded. Groveling? Dramatic apologies? Will that make you happy? I don't want anything from you anymore, I said, and I meant it. I came here to tell you that I'm done. Done with this family dynamic. Done waiting to matter. You can't just be done with family, Marcus protested. Watch me. This is exactly why we don't prioritize you, my mother said, her voice turning sharp. You're selfish. Ungrateful. We've given you everything, and this is how you repay us. Everything? You forgot I existed on the one day a year that was supposed to be mine. What exactly have you given me besides emotional neglect? A home. An education. Food and clothing. More than many children get. That's called basic parenting, Mom. That's the bare minimum. You don't get credit for providing the basics while emotionally abandoning your child. I never abandoned you. Yes, you did. Maybe not physically, but emotionally? Absolutely. And you're still doing it right now, defending yourself instead of listening to how much you've hurt me. Amanda stood up. I think we all need to calm down. No. The word came out hard and final. I'm done calming down. I'm done making myself smaller so you can all be comfortable. For 32 years, I have swallowed my hurt, accepted your excuses, and hoped you would change. I'm finished hoping. What does that mean? My mother asked, her voice rising with panic. It means I'm cutting contact. No more obligatory phone calls. No more showing up for holidays and events where I'm treated like an afterthought. No more pretending we're a functional family. You can't do that, Marcus said. I can. And I am. What about my baby? Jessica asked quietly, speaking for only the second time. What about your niece or nephew? The question caught me off guard. I looked at Jessica, this woman I barely knew who had married into this dysfunction. I don't know, I admitted. I don't want to punish an innocent child for their family's mistakes. But I can't keep subjecting myself to people who don't value me just to maintain relationships with people who haven't been born yet. So you're choosing to be alone rather than work through this as a family, my mother said, making it sound like a moral failing. No, I'm choosing to be around people who treat me with basic respect and care. I have friends who remember my birthday, a partner who values me, a therapist who helps me work through the damage you've done. I'm not alone. I'm just finally removing toxic people from my life. Toxic? Amanda gasped. We're your family, not toxic people. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. I left that night, despite my mother's tears and Amanda's protests. Marcus said nothing, just watched me go with an expression I couldn't read. My father walked me to the car. I'm sorry, he said simply. You deserved better. Yes, I did. Is there anything I can do to make this right? I thought about it. Remember my birthday next year. Not because I reminded you. Not because you felt guilty. But because you genuinely care. If you can do that, maybe we can talk. He nodded, looking older and more tired than I'd ever seen him. I drove away from that house with tears streaming down my face, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were relief. Liberation. The finality of letting go of something that had never truly held me in the first place. David called when I was an hour down the road. How did it go? I told them I'm done. How do you feel? Free. The months after that confrontation were difficult in unexpected ways. My mother called constantly at first, leaving voicemails that oscillated between guilt-tripping and genuine-sounding apologies. Amanda texted frequently, trying to mediate and push me to forgive and forget. Marcus, surprisingly, reached out only once. A simple text, I'm sorry. I never realized how bad it was for you. I didn't respond to any of them. I had meant what I said about being done. But cutting off contact wasn't the same as cutting off feelings. I grieved the family I'd wanted, even while accepting the family I'd actually had. I worked through anger, sadness, and complicated guilt with Dr. Chen's help. You're mourning, she told me. Not the loss of your actual family relationships, but the loss of hope that they might become what you needed. She was right. And slowly, that grief transformed into something else. Acceptance. Peace. The ability to move forward without that constant weight of disappointment. I threw myself into building my chosen family. David and I moved in together. I deepened friendships with people who genuinely cared about me. I volunteered as a mentor for young women in tech, finding purpose in helping others succeed. Life without my birth family was, surprisingly, better. Easier. Lighter. Hashtag March 15th, 1 year later. I woke up on my 33rd birthday to the smell of coffee and pancakes. David had taken the day off work to spend it with me. My friends had planned a surprise dinner party. My coworkers had already decorated my desk the day before. I was loved, celebrated, remembered. At 10 a.m., my phone rang. An unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Chloe? It's Dad. I said nothing, waiting. I wanted to wish you happy birthday. March 15th. I remembered without anyone reminding me. The words should have felt triumphant, vindictive. Instead, I just felt tired. Thank you, I said simply. I know you said you're done with us. And I understand why. But I wanted you to know that I've been working on myself. Going to therapy. Trying to understand how I failed you. Okay, your mother and I are separated. The conversation we had last year, it made me realize a lot of things about our marriage, our family dynamics. I'm not saying this to guilt you. I'm saying it because you deserve to know that you were right. I sat down on the couch, processing this information. Amanda and Marcus don't really get it, he continued. They think you're overreacting, being dramatic. But I get it now. We taught them that you didn't matter, and they believed us. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to do better. Not to get you back, necessarily. I know I don't deserve that. But because you were right, and I want to acknowledge it. We talked for 30 minutes. Really talked, in a way we never had before. He didn't make excuses. Didn't downplay my hurt. Just listened and acknowledged. When we hung up, I wasn't sure what it meant for our future relationship, if we'd have one at all. But for the first time, I felt like he actually saw me. It's been 6 months since that phone call. My father and I now talk occasionally, building something new from the ruins of our old relationship. It's tentative, fragile, but maybe, possibly real. My mother still doesn't get it. She sends cards on random occasions, trying to prove she's thinking of me, but they always feel performative rather than genuine. Amanda reached out recently, asking if we could meet for coffee. I haven't responded yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. The choice is mine now, and that feels powerful. Marcus and Jessica had their baby, a girl named Sophie. Jessica sent me pictures, along with a heartfelt message about understanding why I needed distance, but hoping I might want to be part of Sophie's life someday. I don't know what I'll do about that yet. Part of me wants to give this innocent child a better aunt than I had family members. Part of me knows that opening that door means inviting the dysfunction back in. What I do know is this. I'm no longer waiting for my family to remember me. I'm no longer defining my worth by their ability to care. I've built a life filled with people who show up, who remember, who value me. And on March 15th each year, I'm surrounded by love. Real love, not the obligatory kind. Not the we should probably do something because she's family kind. But the we genuinely want to celebrate this person kind. That's what I deserved all along. And it took 32 forgotten birthdays for me to finally understand that I was worth remembering, even if my family couldn't see it. If you're watching this and you've experienced similar neglect, please know your feelings are valid. Being family doesn't give someone permission to ignore your needs, dismiss your feelings, or forget your existence. You deserve to be remembered. You deserve to be celebrated. And if the people who should love you can't see that, then maybe it's time to find people who can. Setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish. Demanding basic respect doesn't make you dramatic. And walking away from people who hurt you, family or not, doesn't make you wrong. It makes you strong. Have you ever had to cut off family members who didn't value you? How did you find the courage to prioritize yourself? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe. Sometimes knowing you're not alone in these experiences is the first step toward healing. Thank you for witnessing my story. And remember, you are worth remembering.